This is me in 2022. No job, living at my parents' house, and 0 LinkedIn followers. And this is me 12 months later, featuring in Forbes as I've just been named one of the fastest growing entrepreneurs on the platform. So how did I do it? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down the exact 7-step strategy I used to go from 0 to 100,000 followers in record time, without a team, without paid ads, and without any previous experience on the platform. And to prove it wasn't just luck, I've used this exact same strategy with hundreds of clients to help them grow, scale, and monetize their personal brands too. Let me explain. In its most simple form, if you want to grow on LinkedIn, you first need to do a digital detox. And no, I don't mean locking your phone away, fasting, and reading 50 books, but more about removing what no longer benefits you and what is robbing you from your potential success. By this, I mean removing connections on LinkedIn. Old bosses, classmates, old colleagues, anything that is filling your feed with irrelevant noise and self-comparison that is preventing you from posting consistently. I've literally been there, feeling so cringe about posting. We all do. So I started from 0. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. 1, removing connections and unfollow as many people as possible, or 2, start from 0 with a brand new account. I went with the second option. Clean slate, new start, and no old work friends peeping at what I was up to. I had no excuse to not post because I feared of being seen trying something new by other people, and I had all the reason to get out there and look for the right people who would fit into my desired network. CEOs, founders, and like-minded people. I made my Dream 100 list, a term coined by Russell Brunson. The idea is that you list 100 people you'd like to connect with and people who have your ideal people in their networks as well. So if you wanted to connect with someone like Stephen Bartlett or Simon Sinek, for example, you try to connect with their marketing staff or co-founders who are more likely to be seeing their connections personally, increasing your chances of reaching them in the long term. Today, 100% of my connections are my Dream 100 list, not just a mix of random people I've met over the last 8 years. But since I started from 0, I had to give people a good reason to even look at me or my profile. And I had to do it quickly. So instead of sending spammy introduction DMs 100 times a day saying, "Hi, very interested in what you're doing at insert company, let's exchange synergies," I identified the 3 main things that would make anyone else notice me. You should focus on the 80-20 rule, where you prioritize the thing with the highest impact. Then you optimize for speed and not perfection. To grow as fast as possible on LinkedIn from 0, you only need 3 things to start. First, the headshot. It needs to be clear and high quality. You need to look approachable and have a solid background, or at least not too distracting. This means no photos from your Spain trip with your friends or an outdated selfie you took on your Android 10 years ago. It needs to be a direct representation of who you are, but most importantly, the person that you're trying to become. So set up your iPhone timer with a clear background and take a bunch of up-close photos. Then drop it into Canva and add a clear background. It's that simple. You can even use tools like Sector Labs to create a high-quality professional photo too if you can't take professional photos right now. Secondly, your headline. I've covered this before, so I'll leave the video somewhere here, but here are 2 headline templates you can use immediately right this second. If you have an offer, you can say what you do, who you do it for, and how you help. So, for example, I help business coaches get more sales through DM. Now, if you don't have an offer, you can use on a mission to do cool thing with cool outcome, sharing content and insights about the thing, about your journey. So for example, on a mission to help entrepreneurs grow their social media, sharing content about marketing and AI and posting about the journey. Super simple. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Just use those 2 templates to start, and then you can tweak as you go along. Before we move on to the third, you need to understand that your profile and headline are the 2 most visible elements about your profile. It's shown in your profile, on the main feed, and in your comments. So those 2 need to be great, but don't overthink it. You can always go back and tweak it, like I said, and adjust as you go along. The third is your banner, and this is about to contradict like 99% of LinkedIn advice and even mine. But if you want to grow as fast as possible, just pick a solid color that matches your brand and move on. Look, this is the banner I had from 0 to 20,000 followers, and this is the banner that I had from 20 to 50,000 followers. I still use that one on my Twitter. Look, a dashing profile with cool logos, an optimized banner, and graphics isn't going to get you seen at the start. The next step I'm about to show you will. It's the biggest investment I made, but the ROI 10x's for me every single day. And no, I don't mean cash investment. I was an unemployed entrepreneur at the time and I didn't have too much money to invest. But I did have one thing to give. Time. Hacking growth on LinkedIn is a pay-to-play game and you have two currencies, money and time. And I went all in on a time investment and I allocated to one thing. First, impressions. See, in real life and online, first impressions are insanely important. Imagine LinkedIn as the world's largest non-stop business conference. You've got CEOs, investors, industry leaders, and potential clients all on the one roof 24/7. Now, with steps 1 and 2, you're dressed apart, but not many people know you. They sure didn't know me. So how do you make the best first impression? One number, 500 plus. That's the maximum number of connections LinkedIn will show you have, and it's the one thing people look at to see whether they can trust you. One thing that helps is mutual connections. This is a massive trust point on LinkedIn and it's a form of social proof. For example, when you see 2 videos on the YouTube homepage, one of them has your favorite entrepreneur's face and more views and the other one doesn't have either, you're more likely to click on the video that has more views because it's more interesting to you, aligned to your interests, and it's validated by the number of views. Subconsciously, you think that the video with more views and familiar faces is better. It has credibility. Well, LinkedIn is the same. It's one of those undeniable LinkedIn checkboxes too. You needed to mark your profile as complete. To get 500 plus connections, you don't need to rush to post 100 pieces of content a day, but you actually need to rush to comment because they act as conversations and people on LinkedIn love talking about interesting topics. It's kind of one of the purposes of the platform too. So here's how to get 500 plus relevant connections and beyond that too using commenting. First, find 20 to 30 active accounts in your niche or adjacent ones. So if it's business, you can look at marketing, entrepreneurship, and leadership accounts. Make sure that there is a range of following from 0 to 5k, then 5 to 20k, then 20k plus. 0 to 5k is usually people in the same boat as you and most likely to reciprocate the interactions. 5 to 20k are usually steps ahead and they may reciprocate, but you get more visibility as more people follow them and they may see your comment. And then 20,000 followers plus may be harder to stand out, but if you do, you get a double win as there are so many more eyeballs on you. Just look at this comment with nearly 200 likes. This got him like 3 leads as well, by the way. So list their name, URL, and posting time and try to comment as early as possible on their post. The earlier you are, the most likely people are to notice you. Trust me, I did this for months. And what happened was that due to the beautiful nature of reciprocity bias, the more you give, the more you can take in the end. When it comes to actually commenting though, here's exactly what you don't do. You don't leave great posts or 100% as comments. You don't use AI tools to comment, and you don't use single emojis as comments. To stand out without looking like a fan or a groupie, you need to leave 3 types of comments. A personal take on what the post you're commenting on was about, a motivational mic drop where you share a quote that matches the tone of the post, or if you're like me, a meme. Use your humor. You can gamify this as well, doing commenting sprints throughout your day. That's the easiest way to build a habit and practice your commenting. You can use this strategy to comment on people's content in your feed or reply to your own comments under your own posts. This strategy works. It's even been featured by LinkedIn themselves. Shout out to my friend Yasmin Alec for creating it. To me, commenting is the biggest way to build leverage when you don't have any. You're guaranteed thousands of new eyeballs when you do this at least 20 times a day without even posting. You build trust, connections, and friendships just through commenting alone. And for all the technical people looking to understand why this is important, if you look at the standard marketing funnel, you can see that nurture is a key point for long-term success. Your LinkedIn is the same. You nurture your audience from awareness level to consideration and purchase, and you retain them by nurturing them to stay and turning them into not just followers, but a true community of people who want to support your mission. And today, having real conversations is what's making personal brands win. Literally, no one comments on your post, no one likes them, and yes, it helps to get people into your door, but now you need to get them to stay. I, for example, was posting a variety of life updates, marketing, trends, memes, and fluffy value. It wasn't getting me the virality, engagement, and opportunities I was promised, so I did the complete opposite. I focused on micro niching down. My first niche on LinkedIn was marketing. Good enough, but too broad, because in that I was competing with SEO, influencer marketing, SMMAs, copywriters, and so on. My content was scattered. Then I learned about the single biggest business hack to grow, even if you don't have any experience. It's the rule of one. One problem, one solution, one thing. I spoke about this before when it comes to offer creation, but it's insanely important in content creation too. So to find the one thing you need, find the topic or topics you're best at. For me, it was personal branding. So then I broke down what personal branding actually meant to me, and overall, it was a combination of writing, content creation, PR, and social media strategy. I narrowed it down to my expertise so I could become a leader in those specific micro niches quickly. So then I could climb a ladder, gaining more authority, more leverage, and way more credibility. And the more I did it, because of the nature of repetition, the better I got. Here's a post from 2 years ago of me getting double and triple likes. And here's a post from this week getting over 1,000 likes and over 500 comments. This wouldn't have been possible though if I didn't force myself to post content and followed the rule of one. The more I posted, the more feedback loops I created through data, and the better I got. And I also learned a ton more through experimentation. Text posts, carousels, infographics, hooks, rehooks, short posts and long posts, different calls to action. Everything became a test, and to become a top 0.1 creator, you learn, you test, and you iterate every single day. This, to me, is truly where the magic happens, because it feels like a game. Find the gap between your interest and the demand. And again, if you speak to a broad topic like entrepreneurship or business, you're competing with everyone. Gary Vee, viral business, meme pages, people with 100K followers. But if you speak about an insanely micro niche thing like conversion on LinkedIn or AI automations for B2B, then you're so in. You don't need to change your niche entirely, but you do need to niche down to where your expertise truly lies. That needs, and I can't emphasize enough, to be your main focus with your content. Don't overcomplicate it. You don't need more systems, you need more focus on your content. When in doubt, think about the rule of one. So just before we move on to the fifth step in this strategy, I've created an entirely free course on personal branding and how to grow an online audience fast through writing. Link in the description. Oh, and also don't forget to subscribe to this channel so I can keep on providing you with free value and resources like this one. Now, we've hit a light bulb moment, but to grow on LinkedIn, you need to understand how high performing content is born. And it all comes down to three things: educate, inspire, and entertain. If you look across the board for recent long form and short form content you've liked, they all do one of those three things. Justin Welsh educates heavily online, Mr. Beast entertains to a mass scale, and people like David Goggins inspire. If your content isn't doing at least one of them, then you won't grow. And after studying thousands of accounts in a variety of industries, I noticed that those who do at least two of them win. The educational content brings them in, the inspirational content makes them stay, and the entertainment element makes them love you. But before anyone proposes to you, you need to nail the first two: educational and inspirational content. For the next 90 days, your focus should be posting 3 to 5 times a week. 80% educational content and 20% inspirational content. And all of it needs to link back to your pillars we talked about on step 5. To educate, you need to be giving tactical advice. For example, this post breaks down LinkedIn using listicles and examples concisely. Post number 2 does the exact same thing but leveraging carousels and examples. To inspire, you need to be sharing your story. In this post, I shared an incredibly personal story about my dad, but it linked back to entrepreneurship and how I got started. This post takes us through an entire journey in less than 60 seconds. And this post breaks up belief and tells us the story immediately. The big nuance here is that it all needs to link back to your main expertise and why the story was relevant. So if you're in B2B sales, talking about your engagement and what you learned isn't what you want to be doing, although it is a very LinkedIn thing to do and I am honestly all here for it. But If you are in B2B sales and you just got engaged and your new fiance sat front row after you practice your speech 20 times in front of her, and your post talks about having a life partner who makes the world of a difference in your career, then there's potential because it links your personal life and your professional life. Just don't overdo it with the emojis. Okay, now, being serious, a good tip here is to leverage visual content while doing this. Good written content is the vehicle, but you can also grow quicker by using visual elements. This can be in the form of infographics, carousels, Twitter screenshots, or nicely designed graphics. And a bonus tip to anyone who's made it this far into the video, if you look at the examples I showed you, there is one thing they all have in common: visual rhythm or good text formatting. We skim more than we read, and creating visual harmony with your writing can improve your chances of getting more engagement and growing your brand and credibility, as it puts emphasis on your ability to explain things in a clear and concise way. As a good rule of thumb of mine, always try to make your sentences 8 to 10 words max. Use bullet points rather than a dragged out long ass paragraph, and always optimize for mobile. These personally are the best tools, as the market has shifted to heavily visual content due to the TikTokification of social media. Notice how I didn't say video content though, but that's an Easter egg for another day. Or you can follow me on LinkedIn or X, where I'm always dropping updates, trends, and my unpopular opinions. Now, the thing that ties this entire strategy together is this final point. And you might have heard the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. Social media, including LinkedIn, is rooted in one thing: connection. It's truly how you stand out from everyone who doesn't care enough. People repeat the same cycle of creating content, posting, and then forgetting to build the one thing that is going to keep on pushing them up: their network. When I started on LinkedIn, I had 0 connections, and I don't mean just literally as in just LinkedIn connections, but I knew no one in the industry. So to build from the ground up, I committed to have as many coffee chats and Zoom calls as possible. For months, and I mean months, my calendar was packed with 15-minute coffee chats with people who were just starting out just like me, or people 2 steps in front of me and people 2 steps behind me. And eventually I reached those miles ahead. And in fact, it's actually how I met my first mentor, Richard Moore. I connected with someone via their comment section. That someone then liked my post, and my now mentor saw the post, connected with me on LinkedIn when I had like 1,000 followers. I asked for a coffee chat and he accepted. And now he's helped me understand how to price my services, build my offer, close thousands in sales, positioning, and endless ways to skip the line, learning from him. If you want to replicate that, follow steps 1 to 6 in this video to attract like-minded people and stand out. Give value in every new conversation you have. You can offer to help someone out or solve a problem for them. Become an asset for people, build personal leverage. Slowly, your efforts will compound and you will become a magnet. You can also collaborate with people or start getting referrals, and with time, you also make friends in your industry. Crazy, huh? Over time, I got invited to in-person events, which made connections even more meaningful. And this is truly how I built my own luck, by showing up every single day. Now, my friends, this is exactly how to grow your audience as fast as possible. Now, if you want to make leads through it, I'll check out this video too. I'll see you there.